Are sardines in the can really a health miracle for folks our age, or a quiet threat hiding in plain sight? If you're over 60, chances are someone has told you to eat sardines for your bones, your heart, or your memory. But the truth isn't that simple. In fact, some seniors swear they feel better and stronger with sardines as part of their daily diet, while others find their blood pressure, digestion, or even their energy levels getting worse. And here's what makes this video so important. Science is finally giving us real answers, and they're not what most people expect. Today, we're going to uncover 5 surprising truths about canned sardines and how they affect older adults. We're talking about the good, the bad, and the downright confusing. From calcium and protein to sodium and hidden toxins, there's a lot packed into each little fish. But not all of it is helpful, and some of it might actually be hurting you without you even knowing it. So if you've ever stood in the grocery aisle, holding a can of sardines, wondering whether to throw it in the cart, or put it back on the shelf, this video is for you. We'll walk through 5 powerful insights, backed by research and guided by real-life experience, to help you decide if sardines are truly right for you, or if it's time to make a change. Stick with me to the end, because the last point may be the one that changes how you eat forever. Let's begin. Number 1, mercury and contaminant concerns. Let's take a moment to address something that's on a lot of people's minds, but doesn't always get the attention it deserves: contamination. Yes, I'm talking about mercury, heavy metals, and other environmental pollutants that can sneak into our food, especially seafood like sardines. Now, sardines are generally considered one of the safest fish when it comes to mercury, because they're small and low on the food chain. But that doesn't mean they're completely risk-free, especially for older adults whose bodies don't detox as efficiently as they used to. As we age, our liver and kidneys naturally lose some of their filtering power. Toxins we might have eliminated easily in our 30s or 40s tend to linger a bit longer in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. This means even small exposures repeated over time can build up and begin to affect brain health, energy levels, and even mood stability. So while sardines may carry less mercury than tuna or swordfish, eating them every day without considering your total toxic load might not be as harmless as it sounds. And it's not just mercury. Many canned sardines come from waters that have been exposed to industrial pollution, especially areas near Southeast Asia or parts of the Mediterranean that lack strict environmental controls. Some of these sardines may contain traces of polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, dioxins, or microplastics, contaminants that are linked to hormone disruption, inflammation, and long-term health decline. The truth is, the label doesn't tell the whole story. A shiny tin can with a smiling fish on it doesn't say, "These were caught downstream from a factory." But that doesn't mean it's not the case. Now here's where it gets personal. I had a neighbor named Susan, a bright and energetic woman in her late 70s, who started eating sardines religiously after reading about their omega-3 benefits. But after a year, she began experiencing strange neurological symptoms, numbness in her fingers, trouble concentrating, and unpredictable mood swings. Her doctor ran a series of tests and found slightly elevated mercury levels in her system. Turns out she had been eating a particular brand, sourced from a region with higher than average contamination levels. She switched brands, limited her intake to once a week, and started detoxifying through fiber-rich foods and herbal teas. Within months, her symptoms began to fade. This story isn't to scare you, it's to empower you. Because once you know what to look for, you can still enjoy sardines without putting yourself at unnecessary risk. Look for labels that say wild-caught and sustainably sourced. Brands from the Pacific, especially those caught off the coast of the United States or Portugal, tend to be cleaner. And rotate your protein sources. Don't lean on sardines every single day. Mix in salmon, eggs, nuts, or plant-based options. This gives your body a break and reduces the risk of any one contaminant building up. Number 2, the truth about sodium levels in canned sardines. Here's something that often gets swept under the rug. Canned sardines are frequently loaded with sodium. Now, I know salt has its place. A little pinch here and there brings out flavor and preserves the food. But when you're over 70, your relationship with salt needs to be different. Your kidneys don't process sodium as efficiently as they did at 30 or 40, and your blood vessels aren't as forgiving. This means that too much sodium can quickly push your blood pressure into dangerous territory without you even realizing it. Canned sardines, depending on the brand, can contain over 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium per serving. And who eats just one serving? It's easy to crack open a can and finish it off in one sitting. Some people even eat 2. That could mean up to 800 milligrams of sodium in one go. When the American Heart Association recommends seniors aim for no more than 1,500 milligrams per day, you can see how fast things add up. It's not just the sardines, it's the bread, the soup, the condiments. And before long, your blood pressure is quietly climbing. Psychologically, many seniors associate sardines with old-school nutrition. You remember your parents or grandparents eating them straight from the can, maybe with some crackers and living into their 80s or 90s. But here's the part we miss. Back then, people weren't eating processed snacks, frozen meals, and restaurant food every day. Their overall sodium intake was far lower. In today's world, adding salted sardines on top of an already salty diet isn't wise, it's a risk multiplier. This is what we call nostalgic nutrition, the tendency to believe that if something was good back then, it must be good now. But our environment has changed. Our stress levels are different. Our medication use is higher, and our activity levels are lower. All of this makes us more sensitive to salt. And when you mix high sodium intake with certain blood pressure medications, it can blunt their effect, leaving you exposed to strokes or heart attacks despite being compliant. Take Martha, an 80-year-old widow who began eating sardines every morning as part of a Mediterranean diet challenge. She was diligent, even inspired, but at her next doctor's visit, her blood pressure had risen unexpectedly. After some digging, they realized she'd been eating the salted version every day without rinsing them. Once she switched to the low-sodium kind and started draining and rinsing them before eating, her numbers began to come down. She didn't have to give up sardines. She just had to change how she approached them. So if sardines are on your menu, be aware of what kind you're eating. Look for water-packed, no salt-added versions. And don't be afraid to rinse them under cool water. Before serving, that simple step can remove up to 30% of the sodium. Small changes like these can mean the difference between healthy, aging, and hidden risk. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, the truth about calcium balance in canned sardines. Let's talk about something that surprises a lot of folks. How canned sardines, while being a fantastic source of calcium, can also throw your calcium balance off if you're not careful. Sounds strange, doesn't it? After all, seniors are always being told to get enough calcium to keep their bones strong and prevent fractures. And yes, sardines, especially the ones with the soft, edible bones, are loaded with calcium. But here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough: calcium needs support. On its own, too much calcium, without the proper cofactors like magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin K2 can actually do more harm than good. When calcium isn't absorbed correctly, it can start to deposit in the wrong places. That means instead of going into your bones where you need it, it can settle in your arteries, kidneys, and joints. That's right, calcium can harden your blood vessels and increase your risk for atherosclerosis if your body doesn't have the tools it needs to manage it. And this is where the issue with sardines comes in. While they provide a large dose of calcium, they don't provide enough of the other nutrients necessary to make that calcium truly beneficial and safe. Think of it like baking a cake. Calcium is the flour, but if you forget the eggs, butter, and baking soda, that cake isn't going to turn out right. The same goes for your bones and blood vessels. Without magnesium to regulate calcium's entry into cells, and vitamin K2 to guide it to your bones and away from your arteries, that good calcium can slowly contribute to long-term damage. Now, why does this matter more after 70? Because as we age, our absorption of calcium changes. Our kidneys filter less efficiently. Our digestion slows. And many of us are on medications like acid blockers, diuretics, or steroids that can alter how calcium and its partner nutrients are used in the body. So eating a high-calcium food like sardines, without considering your full nutritional context, can create an imbalance. I remember speaking with Henry, a 75-year-old man who had read that sardines were great for bones. He started eating them every other day, feeling proud that he was doing something good for his health. But a few months later, his doctor noticed some arterial calcification on a scan. Henry was shocked. He wasn't taking magnesium, wasn't getting much sunlight for vitamin D, and didn't know what vitamin K2 even was. He had the right intentions, but the wrong execution. Once he adjusted his supplements and cut back on the frequency of sardine meals, his blood tests began to improve, and he felt more energized and balanced. So what does this mean for you? Sardines can absolutely be part of a healthy diet, especially if you're not getting enough calcium elsewhere. But don't rely on them alone. Pair them with leafy greens like spinach or kale, rich in magnesium. Make sure you're getting a little sunshine or taking a D3 supplement. And look into vitamin K2. It's found in foods like natto, hard cheeses, or supplements, and it plays a key role in directing calcium where it belongs. Health isn't just about adding something good. It's about creating the right balance so that the good doesn't quietly become harmful. When we understand that, we make better choices, not just because we heard something was healthy, but because we've learned how it works for our bodies. Number 4, omega-3 richness. Let's start with what most doctors love to highlight. Sardines are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and for good reason. These little fish are packed with EPA and DHA, two powerful omega-3s that help reduce inflammation, support heart rhythm, and lower triglyceride levels. For seniors, especially those with a history of heart issues, this sounds like a miracle in a can. But here's the twist. While omega-3s are essential, they're only beneficial when they come in balance with the rest of your diet. And that's where the problem begins. Many older adults believe that simply eating sardines will protect their heart, but they ignore everything else going on in their diet. If you're still eating processed meats, refined carbs, or heavy oils, then the sardines can't offset that damage. In fact, consuming sardines without fixing the bigger picture can give a false sense of security. The truth is, omega-3s work best when they're part of a healthy overall pattern. Otherwise, you're just throwing good fish into a bad mix. And that's not all. Some canned sardines are packed in soybean or sunflower oil, which are rich in omega-6 fatty acids. Too much omega-6 competes with omega-3 and creates the very inflammation you're trying to fight. So while the label says rich in omega-3, the oil inside might be canceling out the benefit. Psychologically, this plays on what we call the health halo effect. It's when a single food is labeled healthy, so people stop paying attention to the details. Seniors especially are vulnerable to this because they're trying to do the right thing. They want to eat better, feel better, and live longer. So when something like sardines gets the health stamp of approval, it becomes a default choice, even if they don't like the taste or their body doesn't respond well to it. I remember talking to a 74-year-old man named Harold, who started eating sardines every morning because he read they were good for his heart. After 3 months, he noticed more bloating, strange aftertastes, and a sluggish feeling he couldn't shake. Turns out he was eating the kind packed in soybean oil and loading it onto crackers high in sodium. Once he switched to water-packed sardines and added some fresh greens, he felt lighter and more energized. It wasn't just the fish, it was the way he balanced it. So yes, sardines can be a heart helper, but only if you understand the full context. If you're eating them thinking they'll solve all your heart problems, pause and take a step back. Look at the oil, the salt, the rest of your meals. You deserve the real benefit, not just the idea of it. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, salt content. Here's a truth that might surprise you. One little can of sardines can pack more sodium than you think. And for many older adults, that's not something to brush off lightly. While sardines come with a treasure trove of healthy fats and essential nutrients, they also often come soaked in salt-heavy brine or sauce. And if you're someone over 60, managing your salt intake becomes not just a dietary suggestion, but a health imperative. Why does this matter so much as we get older? Well, our blood vessels aren't as flexible as they used to be. The arteries stiffen, the heart works harder, and even mild increases in blood pressure can lead to serious consequences, like stroke, heart failure, or kidney issues. Too much sodium causes the body to hold on to water, increasing the volume of blood that flows through narrowed vessels. The result? Rising pressure and strain on the heart. And here's where canned sardines can quietly become a problem. Not because they're inherently unhealthy, but because their salt levels often go unnoticed. A typical can of sardines can contain anywhere from 250 to 400 milligrams of sodium per serving, and many people eat the whole can in one go. That means you could be consuming over 30% of your daily recommended sodium in just a few bites. And for older adults who also snack on pickles, canned soup, or cold cuts, foods already loaded with salt, the total adds up fast. The kicker is, many seniors don't even realize they're inching past healthy limits because sardines seem so natural and clean. I remember one gentleman I met at a local senior fitness group, Harold, 78 years old and sharp as a tack. He prided himself on his clean eating. No cookies, no soda, no processed junk. But when he went for his checkup, his blood pressure was creeping up steadily. His doctor asked him to keep a food log, and guess what showed up nearly every day? Sardines. Sometimes in olive oil, sometimes with tomato sauce, and almost always with all the brine included. When Harold switched to low-sodium varieties and cut back to eating them twice a week, his blood pressure eased down within a few months without any medication changes. It's not about cutting sardines out completely. It's about being aware. If you enjoy sardines, look for low-sodium or no-salt added options. They're out there, you just have to read the label. You can also rinse the sardines under cool water before eating to remove some of the surface salt. Another idea is to add them to dishes with potassium-rich foods like spinach, avocado, or sweet potatoes. Potassium helps counterbalance sodium's effects on the body, acting almost like a natural pressure valve. This is also a good moment to remind yourself just because something is healthy in one way doesn't mean it's harmless in every way. It's easy to latch onto a superfood and overdo it, especially when the packaging tells us it's natural or heart smart. But wisdom is about balance. And in our later years, that balance becomes the foundation for independence, clarity, and peace of mind. So next time you're reaching for that can, ask yourself, is this part of a bigger picture that supports your heart, your energy, and your well-being? Because sometimes it's the little things, like a sprinkle of salt, that hold the biggest power over how we feel day to day. Choose with intention, and your body will thank you. Final thoughts. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you paused and really thought about how much control you have over your health? Not in some big, overwhelming way, but in the small daily choices. What you eat, what you skip, what you trust. That's where the real power lies, especially after 60. Because the truth is, our bodies may change, slow down and grow more sensitive, but our minds, they get sharper. Our wisdom deepens, and we begin to see things not just for what they seem, but for what they are. That's why this conversation about canned sardines matters so much more than it might appear on the surface. We're not just talking about fish. We're talking about trust, habit, and awareness. About learning how to navigate a world full of labels, marketing, and assumptions, and finding your own truth beneath all the noise. It's easy to assume that anything in a small can with omega-3 written on it must be good for you. But being older means being smarter. It means recognizing that even the healthiest sounding food can have downsides if we don't look carefully. That's not fear, it's wisdom. And it's not about avoiding everything either. It's about asking the right questions and making choices that truly match where you are in your life. I've lived long enough to know that no one food, no one habit, no one diagnosis defines who you are. You are the sum of all your quiet decisions, your early morning choices, your late night reflections. You are not just getting older. You are evolving. And that means your health deserves thought, your diet deserves intention, and your future deserves your full attention. So whether you eat sardines or not, whether you add them to your salads or avoid them entirely, what matters most is that you're awake to what your body's telling you, that you respect it, that you listen and adjust with care and confidence. Because age isn't the end of growth, it's the beginning of wisdom. And every small step you take in the right direction sends a message to yourself, I matter. I deserve to feel strong, clear, and alive. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.